The universe is very large, and time moves in only one direction. These are two quiet truths that ask nothing of you. Welcome. This is a calm and slow journey through some of the gentlest ideas in science, facts about stars and planets, and the nature of time itself. None of these facts will demand anything from you. There are no tests, no conclusions to reach, no problems to solve. You are simply here, listening, in a quiet and comfortable way. The universe has been around for a very long time, and it will continue long after this video ends. That is a comforting thought. You are a small and peaceful part of something very large and very old. So settle in, let your breathing slow, and allow these soft pieces of science to pass through your mind like light through still water. Fact 1. The universe is approximately 13.8 billion years old. That number is so large it has almost no meaning to the human mind, and that is perfectly fine. Fact 2. Light travels at about 300,000 kilometers per second. Even at that speed, it takes light more than 4 years to reach the nearest star beyond our sun. Fact 3. The nearest star to Earth, other than the Sun, is called Proxima Centauri. It is a small, dim red star, and it sits quietly in the southern sky. Fact 4. The Sun is so large that approximately 1 million Earths could fit inside it, and yet, compared to many other stars in the galaxy, our Sun is considered average in size. Fact 5. Space is mostly empty. The distance between objects in the universe is almost incomprehensibly vast, and the matter within it is spread very, very thin. Fact 7. It takes our solar system approximately 225 million years to complete one orbit around the center of the Milky Way. This is sometimes called a galactic year. Fact 8. The last time Earth was in its current position in the galaxy, dinosaurs had not yet appeared. That was roughly 1 galactic year ago. Fact 9. There are more galaxies in the observable universe than there are grains of sand on all of Earth's beaches. This fact has been confirmed through Deep Space Telescope observations. Fact 10. The observable universe is about 93 billion light-years across. The word observable is important here. It refers only to the portion of the universe from which light has had enough time to reach us. Fact 11. Beyond the observable universe, space may continue forever. Scientists are not certain whether the universe is finite or infinite in size. Fact 12. Time, as far as physicists understand it, began at the same moment the universe did. There was no time before the Big Bang, because time itself was part of what began. Fact 13. Albert Einstein showed that time is not a fixed or universal constant. It can stretch and compress depending on speed and gravity. Fact 14. This effect is called time dilation. If you were to travel at a speed close to the speed of light, time would pass more slowly for you than for someone who remains still. Fact 15. Time also passes more slowly in stronger gravitational fields. A clock placed near a massive object, like a black hole, would tick more slowly than a clock placed far away. Fact 16. This is not just a theory. The time dilation effect has been measured with precise atomic clocks placed at different altitudes here on Earth. Clocks at higher altitudes tick very slightly faster than clocks at sea level. Fact 17. GPS satellites have to account for time dilation in their calculations. Without these corrections, the navigation data they provide would drift and become inaccurate over time. Fact 18. A black hole is a region of space where gravity is so strong that nothing, not even light, can escape once it passes the boundary known as the event horizon. Fact 19. At the center of most large galaxies, including the Milky Way, there is believed to be a supermassive black hole. The one at the center of our galaxy is called Sagittarius A star. Fact 20. Black holes do not pull in surrounding matter the way a vacuum cleaner does. Objects only fall into a black hole if they pass close enough to be affected by its gravity, just like any other massive object. Fact 21. The largest known black holes are called ultramassive black holes. Some of them contain the mass of tens of billions of suns, compressed into a single point. Fact 22. Stars are born inside large clouds of gas and dust called nebulae. Over millions of years, gravity pulls the gas together until it becomes dense and hot enough to begin nuclear fusion. Fact 23. Nuclear fusion is the process by which a star produces its energy. Hydrogen atoms are pressed together under enormous pressure until they fuse into helium, releasing energy in the process. Fact 24. Our sun has been fusing hydrogen in its core for about 4.6 billion years. It is expected to continue doing so for roughly another 5 billion years. Fact 25. When stars much larger than our sun reach the end of their lives, they can collapse and then explode in a powerful event called a supernova. Fact 26. A supernova can briefly outshine an entire galaxy. The explosion releases an enormous amount of energy, and the material scattered by the blast eventually forms new stars and planets. Fact 27. The atoms in your body were forged inside ancient stars. When those stars exploded long ago, they scattered their elements across space. Over billions of years, that material gathered and formed our solar system, our planet, and eventually, you. Fact 28. Oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, iron, all of these elements were created inside stars. The universe made them slowly over enormous spans of time through quiet nuclear processes deep inside stellar cores. Fact 29. There are stars in the universe so large that if one were placed where our sun is, it would extend past the orbit of Jupiter. These are called hypergent stars, and they burn very brightly for a relatively short time. Fact 30. The smallest stars are called red dwarfs. They are dim and cool compared to our sun, but they burn their fuel so slowly that some of them may last for trillions of years. Fact 31. Trillions of years is far longer than the current age of the universe. Some red dwarf stars alive today may still be burning long after most other stars have gone dark. Fact 32. The surface temperature of our sun is approximately 5,500 degrees Celsius. The core, where fusion takes place, reaches temperatures of about 15 million degrees. Fact 33. Light produced in the core of the sun takes a very long time to work its way to the surface. Some estimates suggest it can take tens of thousands of years for a single photon to travel from the core to the outer layer. Fact 34. Once that light reaches the surface of the sun, it travels the remaining distance to Earth in approximately 8 minutes and 20 seconds. Fact 35. This means that when you look at the sun, you are seeing it as it was 8 minutes ago. You are always looking slightly into the past when you observe objects in space. Fact 36. When you look at the night sky and see a star, you are seeing light that left that star years, decades, centuries, or even thousands of years ago, depending on how far away it is. Fact 37. Some of the stars we can see in the night sky no longer exist. The light reaching our eyes is simply the last message those stars sent before they died, still traveling quietly through space. Fact 38. The Andromeda Galaxy is the closest large galaxy to the Milky Way. It is approximately 2.5 million light-years away. The light we see from it tonight left that galaxy 2.5 million years ago. Fact 39. The Andromeda Galaxy and the Milky Way are slowly moving toward each other. In approximately 4.5 billion years, the two galaxies are expected to merge. Fact 40. When galaxies merge, it is not a violent collision of stars crashing into each other. The space between individual stars is so vast that most stars simply pass by one another, shifting slowly into new orbits. over millions of years. Fact 41. The cosmic microwave background is a faint glow of radiation that fills the entire universe. It is the afterglow of the Big Bang, still drifting quietly through space after nearly 14 billion years. Fact 42. This background radiation was discovered accidentally in 1965 by two scientists who were working with a radio antenna. They noticed a persistent, unexplained noise coming from every direction in the sky. Fact 43. The temperature of the cosmic microwave background is approximately 2.7 degrees above absolute zero. It is one of the coldest and most uniform things ever measured. Fact 44. Absolute zero is the lowest possible temperature. It is approximately minus 273 degrees Celsius. At this temperature, atomic motion slows to its minimum possible state. Fact 45. Nothing in the universe has ever been measured at exactly absolute zero. It is a theoretical limit, approached but never fully reached. Fact 46. Space itself is very close to absolute zero in most places. The average temperature of the universe is just slightly above that lower limit, a cold and quiet vastness stretching in all directions. Fact 47. Dark matter is a substance that scientists believe makes up approximately 27% of the universe. It does not emit, absorb, or reflect light, so it cannot be seen directly. We know dark matter exists because of its gravitational effects on visible matter. Galaxies rotate in ways that cannot be explained by the visible matter alone. Something unseen is holding them together. Fact 49. Dark energy is even more mysterious. It is believed to make up approximately 68% of the universe and is thought to be responsible for the accelerating expansion of space. Fact 50. This means that ordinary matter, everything we can see and touch, all the stars, planets, gas, and dust in the universe, makes up only about 5% of everything that exists. Fact 51. The universe is not only expanding, it is expanding at an increasing rate. Distant galaxies are moving away from us faster and faster as time goes on. Fact 52. This expansion does not mean that everything in the universe is moving through space. Rather, space itself is stretching. The fabric of the universe is growing larger between galaxies. Fact 53. Because of this expansion, there are galaxies in the universe that are moving away from us faster than the speed of light. This does not violate the laws of physics, because it is space itself expanding, not objects moving through space. Fact 54. The planet Saturn is so large that all 7 of the other planets in our solar system could fit inside it, with room to spare. Fact 55. Saturn is also the least dense planet in our solar system. It is so light relative to its size that, if you could find a body of water large enough, Saturn would float. Fact 56. Saturn's rings are made mostly of ice and rock, ranging in size from tiny grains to chunks as large as a house. Despite appearing thick and solid from a distance, the rings are remarkably thin, sometimes only about 10 meters deep. Fact 57. Jupiter has a storm in its atmosphere called the Great Red Spot. This storm has been observed for at least 350 years. It is larger than the entire Earth. Fact 58. Jupiter is so massive that it acts as a kind of shield for the inner solar system. Its gravity captures or deflects many asteroids and comets that might otherwise travel toward Earth. Fact 59. The 4 largest moons of Jupiter are called the Galilean moons. They were observed by Galileo Galilei in 1610, and their discovery helped support the idea that not everything in the sky orbits the Earth. Fact 60. One of those moons, called Europa, is covered in a thick layer of ice. Beneath that ice, scientists believe there may be a liquid water ocean, kept warm by tidal forces generated by Jupiter's gravity. Fact 61. Where there is liquid water on Earth, there is almost always life. This is one of the reasons Europa is considered one of the most interesting places in our solar system when it comes to the possibility of life beyond Earth. Fact 62. Mars has the largest volcano in the entire solar system. It is called Olympus Mons, and it rises approximately 22 kilometers above the surrounding plains. That is nearly 2.5 times the height of Mount Everest. Fact 63. Mars also has the longest canyon system known in the solar system. It is called Valles Marineris, and it stretches approximately 4,000 kilometers across the surface of the planet. If it were on Earth, it would span the entire width of the United States. Fact 64. Despite its enormous size, Mars is a quiet and still planet today. Its atmosphere is very thin, made mostly of carbon dioxide, and its surface is cold and dry. Fact 65. There is evidence that Mars once had liquid water flowing across its surface. Ancient riverbeds and lake sediments have been observed by rovers and orbiters, suggesting a warmer and wetter past. Fact 66. Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. Even though Mercury is closer to the Sun, Venus has a thick atmosphere full of carbon dioxide that traps heat in a runaway greenhouse effect, keeping its surface at around 465 degrees Celsius. Fact 67. A day on Venus is longer than a year on Venus. It rotates so slowly that it takes longer to complete one full rotation on its axis than it does to complete one full orbit around the Sun. Fact 68. Venus also rotates in the opposite direction to most other planets. If you were standing on Venus and could see the Sun through its thick clouds, you would watch it rise in the west and set in the east. Fact 69. Mercury has almost no atmosphere to speak of. Without an atmosphere to retain heat, its temperatures swing dramatically, from about 430 degrees Celsius during the day to nearly minus 180 degrees Celsius at night. Fact 70. Despite being so close to the Sun, there is water ice on Mercury. It exists in deep craters near the poles where sunlight never reaches, preserved in permanent shadow for billions of years. Fact 71. Neptune is the farthest planet from the Sun in our solar system. It is so far away that it takes approximately 165 Earth years to complete a single orbit around the Sun. Fact 72. Neptune was discovered through mathematics before it was ever directly observed. Scientists noticed irregularities in the orbit of Uranus and predicted that another large planet must be influencing it. They were correct. Fact 73. The winds on Neptune are the fastest of any planet in the solar system. They can reach speeds of approximately 2,100 kilometers per hour, moving silently through the cold blue atmosphere. Fact 74. Uranus rotates on its side. Its axial tilt is approximately 98 degrees, meaning it essentially rolls around the Sun rather than spinning upright like most other planets. Fact 75. This unusual tilt means that each pole of Uranus experiences approximately 42 years of continuous sunlight, followed by 42 years of complete darkness. Fact 76. Beyond the orbit of Neptune lies a region called the Kuiper Belt. It is a vast, cold zone filled with icy bodies, dwarf planets, and the remnants of the early solar system. Fact 77. Pluto is located in the Kuiper Belt. It was once classified as the 9th planet, but was reclassified as a dwarf planet in 2006. It orbits the Sun in a slightly tilted and elongated path. Fact 78. Pluto has 5 known moons. Its largest moon, Charon, is so large relative to Pluto that the two bodies essentially orbit each other around a shared point in space between them. Fact 79. Beyond the Kuiper Belt lies a region called the Oort cloud. It is a vast, spherical shell of icy objects that surrounds the entire solar system at an enormous distance from the Sun. Fact 80. The Oort cloud is so far away that it takes some of its objects millions of years to complete a single orbit around the Sun. It is the outermost boundary of our solar system's gravitational reach. Fact 81. Comets that travel into the inner solar system often come from the Oort cloud. Gravity from passing stars or other disturbances can nudge these icy bodies onto long journeys inward toward the sun. Fact 82. As a comet approaches the sun, the ice and dust on its surface begin to vaporize, forming a glowing tail that always points away from the sun, pushed outward by the solar wind. Fact 83. The solar wind is a continuous stream of charged particles flowing outward from the sun in all directions. It travels at hundreds of kilometers per second and fills the entire solar system. Fact 84. Earth is protected from the solar wind by its magnetic field. This field deflects most of the charged particles around the planet, keeping the atmosphere and surface safe. Fact 85. When charged particles from the solar wind interact with Earth's upper atmosphere near the poles, they create beautiful displays of light, called auroras. Near the North Pole, this is called the aurora borealis. Near the South Pole, it is called the aurora australis. Fact 86. Earth's magnetic field is generated by the movement of molten iron in the outer core of the planet. This churning liquid metal acts like a slow and enormous dynamo deep beneath the surface. Fact 87. Earth's magnetic field has reversed many times throughout history. The north and south magnetic poles have swapped positions hundreds of times over billions of years. The last reversal occurred approximately 780,000 years ago. Fact 88. The moon is slowly drifting away from Earth. Each year, the moon moves approximately 3.8 centimeters farther from our planet due to tidal interactions between the two bodies. Fact 89. When the moon first formed, it was much closer to Earth. The tides it created would have been enormously powerful, and days on Earth would have been much shorter than they are today. Fact 90. The moon is believed to have formed when a Mars-sized object collided with the early Earth approximately 4.5 billion years ago. The debris from that impact eventually gathered together and formed the moon. Fact 91. The same side of the moon always faces Earth. This is because the moon rotates on its axis at exactly the same rate as it orbits Earth, a phenomenon called tidal locking. Fact 92. The far side of the moon, sometimes called the dark side, is not actually dark. It receives just as much sunlight as the near side. It is simply the side that faces away from Earth at all times. Fact 93. The surface of the moon is covered in a fine layer of dust and broken rock called regolith. It was created over billions of years by meteorites striking the surface and slowly grinding the rock into powder. Fact 94. Because the moon has no atmosphere and no weather, the footprints left by astronauts during the Apollo missions are still there today, perfectly preserved in the regolith, undisturbed. Fact 95. The concept of a light year is not a measure of time. It is a measure of distance. 1 light year is the distance that light travels in 1 year, approximately 9.5 trillion kilometers. Fact 96. The center of the Milky Way galaxy is approximately 26,000 light-years from Earth. The light we observe from that region of the sky left it 26,000 years ago, when early humans were still living in small nomadic groups. Fact 97. Time, according to modern physics, is considered a dimension, much like the 3 spatial dimensions of length, width, and height. Together they form what is known as space-time. Fact 98. Space-time can be bent and curved by mass and energy. This curvature is what we experience as gravity. A massive object like a star curves the space-time around it, and other objects follow those curves as they move. Fact 99. The theory that describes this relationship between mass, space-time, and gravity is called general relativity. It was developed by Albert Einstein and published in 1915. It remains one of the most accurate and well-tested theories in all of science. Fact 100. And the final fact, offered gently and without ceremony, is simply this: the universe is still here. It has been here for nearly 14 billion years, through the birth and death of countless stars, through the slow drift of galaxies across unimaginable distances, through the quiet passage of deep time. And tonight, in this small and peaceful moment, so are you, resting, breathing, part of something very old and very vast and very still. Fact 101. The sun loses mass every second. Through the process of nuclear fusion and the constant outflow of the solar wind, the sun sheds approximately 4 million tons of mass each second. Over its lifetime, this loss is enormous, yet the sun remains largely unchanged in size. Fact 102. The energy produced by the sun in 1 second is greater than all the energy humanity has ever used throughout its entire history combined. Fact 103. Sound cannot travel through space. Space is a near-perfect vacuum, and sound requires a medium, such as air or water, to move through. The universe, for the most part, is completely silent. Fact 104. If the sun were hollow, it would take approximately 1 million Earths to fill it. If it were filled with water instead, the volume of water required would be almost beyond imagination. Fact 105. The temperature of lightning here on Earth is approximately 5 times hotter than the surface of the sun. For a brief fraction of a second, a bolt of lightning reaches around 30,000 degrees Celsius. Fact 106. There are more possible iterations of a game of chess than there are atoms in the observable universe. The universe contains roughly 10 to the power of 80 atoms. The number of possible chess games is estimated to be far larger than that. Fact 107. A neutron star is one of the densest objects in the universe. It forms when a massive star collapses after a supernova explosion. The remaining core is compressed into a sphere roughly 20 kilometers across, yet containing more mass than our sun. Fact 108. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh approximately 10 million tons on Earth. Its density is so extreme that atoms themselves are crushed, leaving only tightly packed neutrons. Fact 109. Some neutron stars spin extremely rapidly. These are called pulsars. They emit beams of radiation from their poles, and as they spin, those beams sweep through space like the beam of a lighthouse. Fact 110. The fastest known pulsars rotate hundreds of times per second. They are among the most precisely timed objects ever observed, more regular in their rotation than many atomic clocks. Fact 111. When two neutron stars collide and merge, they produce an event called a kilonova. These collisions are responsible for creating many of the heavy elements in the universe, including gold and platinum. Fact 112. The gold in a piece of jewelry on Earth was almost certainly forged in the collision of two neutron stars billions of years ago, long before our solar system existed. Fact 113. Gravitational waves are ripples in the fabric of space-time, caused by the acceleration of massive objects. They travel outward from their source at the speed of light, passing through everything in the universe. Fact 114. Gravitational waves were first directly detected in September of 2015 by an instrument called LIGO. The waves detected had been produced by two black holes merging approximately 1.3 billion light-years away. Fact 115. The distortion in space-time caused by those gravitational waves, by the time they reached Earth, was smaller than 1/10,000th the diameter of a proton. And yet, sensitive enough instruments were able to detect them. Fact 116. The Voyager 1 spacecraft, launched in 1977, is the most distant human-made object in existence. It has crossed into interstellar space and continues drifting silently outward, billions of kilometers from Earth. Fact 117. Signals from Voyager 1 traveling at the speed of light take more than 22 hours to reach Earth, and yet, the spacecraft is still well within the broader gravitational influence of our Sun. Fact 118. Voyager 1 carries a golden record, a disk containing sounds and images selected to represent life and culture on Earth. It was included in case the spacecraft was ever encountered by another intelligent civilization. Fact 119. The chances of Voyager 1 actually being found by another civilization are extraordinarily small. Space is so vast and empty that even traveling for millions of years, the spacecraft is unlikely to come close to another star system. Fact 120. And yet, the golden record was included anyway, a quiet gesture sent out into the dark, not with expectation, but simply as an expression of something gentle and hopeful. Fact 121. The James Webb Space Telescope, launched in December of 2021, is capable of observing some of the earliest galaxies to have formed after the Big Bang. It looks back in time by looking outward into deep space. Fact 122. The Webb telescope orbits the Sun at a point approximately 1.5 million kilometers from Earth, kept in a stable position by the balanced gravitational pull of the Sun and Earth combined. Fact 123. To protect its sensitive instruments from heat, the Webb telescope is shielded by a sun shield roughly the size of a tennis court. One side faces the Sun and reaches temperatures of around 85 degrees Celsius. The other side, where the instruments are, stays at around minus 233 degrees Celsius. Fact 124. The universe was completely dark for several 100 million years after the Big Bang. There were no stars yet, only vast clouds of hydrogen and helium drifting slowly through the darkness. This period is sometimes called the Cosmic Dark Ages. Fact 125. The first stars to form in the universe were likely enormous, many times larger than any stars that exist today. They burned brightly for a short time before exploding, seeding the universe with the first heavy elements. Fact 126. Time appears to pass more slowly when you are moving quickly. This is not a feeling or a perception. It is a measurable physical reality, confirmed repeatedly through experiment and observation. Fact 127. If you were to travel in a very fast spacecraft for what felt to you like 1 year, more time would have passed on Earth. Upon returning, you would find that the world had aged more than you had. Fact 128. This effect becomes more pronounced the closer you travel to the speed of light. At exactly the speed of light, time would theoretically stop entirely for the traveler. However, objects with mass cannot actually reach the speed of light. Fact 129. The concept of simultaneity is relative in physics. Two events that appear to happen at the same time for one observer may appear to happen at different times for another observer moving at a different speed. Fact 130. This means that there is no single universal now shared by all observers in the universe. What counts as the present moment depends on where you are and how fast you are moving. Fact 131. The observable universe has a horizon, much like the horizon you see when standing on a beach. Beyond that horizon, light simply has not had enough time to reach us since the universe began. Fact 132. As the universe expands, some regions of space are moving away from us faster than light can travel. Those regions will eventually pass beyond our horizon entirely, becoming permanently unreachable and unobservable. Fact 133. Astronomers estimate that there are approximately 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. Each galaxy contains billions of stars. The total number of stars in the observable universe is estimated to be around 1 septillion. Fact 134. 1 septillion is a 1 followed by 24 zeros. Written out, it would stretch across several pages, and yet Each one of those stars is a single point of quiet nuclear fire burning somewhere in the dark. Fact 135. The coldest natural place ever recorded in the universe is the Boomerang Nebula, a cloud of gas expanding outward from a dying star. Its temperature has been measured at approximately 1 degree above absolute zero. Fact 136. Interstellar space, the vast emptiness between star systems, is not completely empty. It contains a very thin scattering of gas, dust, and charged particles spread across unimaginable distances. Fact 137. The average density of matter in the universe is approximately equivalent to 1 hydrogen atom per cubic meter of space. The universe is, in almost every sense, an ocean of emptiness, with occasional islands of light. Fact 138. Galaxies tend to cluster together. Our Milky Way belongs to a small group of galaxies called the Local Group, which in turn belongs to a larger structure called the Virgo supercluster. Fact 139. On the very largest scales, galaxies and galaxy clusters are arranged in long filaments and sheets, with enormous voids of empty space between them. This structure is sometimes called the cosmic web. Fact 140. The cosmic web formed gradually over billions of years as gravity pulled matter together along the dense threads of dark matter that formed in the early universe. Fact 141. A single filament of the cosmic web can stretch for hundreds of millions of light years. The voids between them can be equally vast, regions of space containing almost nothing at all. Fact 142. The Milky Way itself is moving through space. Along with the rest of the Local Group, it is being drawn toward a massive concentration of matter called the Great Attractor, located approximately 250 million light years away. Fact 143. The Great Attractor is difficult to study because it lies in the direction of the galactic plane, where dust and gas in our own galaxy obscures the view. Much of what lies there remains hidden from direct observation. Fact 144. Infrared and X-ray telescopes have allowed astronomers to peer through some of that obscuring dust, revealing large clusters of galaxies in the direction of the Great Attractor, slowly drawing the surrounding universe toward them. Fact 145. Stars do not live forever. Even the longest-lived stars will eventually exhaust their fuel. Red dwarf stars may last for trillions of years, but in the far future, even they will cool and fade into cold, dark cinders drifting through space. Fact 146. When our sun eventually exhausts its hydrogen fuel in about 5 billion years, it will expand into a red giant, growing large enough to engulf the inner planets, possibly including Earth. Fact 147. After the red giant phase, the outer layers of the sun will drift away into space, forming a beautiful glowing shell of gas called a planetary nebula. At its center, a small dense remnant called a white dwarf will remain. Fact 148. A white dwarf is about the size of Earth, but contains roughly the mass of the sun. It produces no new energy through fusion. It simply radiates away its remaining heat slowly over billions of years. Fact 149. Eventually, a white dwarf will cool completely and become a cold, dark object called a black dwarf. However, the universe is not yet old enough for any black dwarfs to exist. None have formed yet. Fact 150. And so the universe continues, quietly and without urgency. Stars are born, and stars grow old. Galaxies drift through the dark. Time moves forward at its own steady pace, indifferent to distance, indifferent to scale, simply continuing, as it always has, gently and without end.